Holy Father, send your truth deep into our souls, that we may find this night what you sent us here for. Amen. Please be seated. Tonight, as we approach the midnight hour, it is amazing to think that throughout the world, millions upon millions of people are drawn to houses of worship. People are drawn like iron to a magnet to sanctuaries to celebrate the birth of Jesus. So why have you come here tonight? Why are you drawn here? Why have you been pulled out of your home tonight, been drawn to this magnetic hour? One of the first Christmas Eves at church that I remember was a shock to me. As I was leaving the service, I lamented, actually I whined to my mother, that I didn't think Santa Claus was going to come to our house because we weren't home. We were at church all night long. I figured that Santa had bypassed our house. If we were not there, he said, well, the Michelle boys aren't there. Too bad. So what are your thoughts this night? What brings you here? Are you like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life? Have you come because it is a dark world out there and that you found that you want to get away from the darkness that is both around you and within you and come to a place where there's light? Maybe this past year you've experienced the death of a son or a daughter, or a husband, wife, parent, loved one, or some tragedy has been in your life, or loneliness, and you want to be in a place where there are other people and where there's brightness and hope and gratitude. Or maybe you come tonight because that's what your family does. Come to church on Christmas Eve. And in coming, you are drawn, you're experiencing that magnetic draw that is here, that comes in the stillness of the night. To hear once again the unlikeliest of stories that is nevertheless true. And that this baby draws you and touches some deep-seated feelings inside of you. Feelings of awe and wonder, like the wise men who brought their gifts of gold and frankincense and myrrh. Some of you come because you want to hear the good news of Jesus Christ. And good news is always worth hearing again, over and over again. Maybe some of you come because you lost your faith somewhere along the way, and you're hoping maybe it might be rekindled tonight. That you had a much deeper faith when you were younger, and somewhere along the way, life happened or education happened. A long time ago, you really loved God with all your heart, and you felt God's presence, but since that time, you sort of lost that sense of God's presence in your life, and there's an emptiness inside, and maybe you could find that here tonight. Perhaps you've had an awful time in your marriage this last year. It's been rough around the house, and you're here because you want a new beginning. You want to have God help you with that new beginning. And if God is the source of all love, you want to have God help you to begin to embrace love again, to turn over a new leaf with your partner. You want to do it right with your spouse, and you think that God might be able to help you. So, you are here. And still others may be here because you're like Ebenezer Scrooge. You've been drugged here. Your wife, your husband drug you here, and you just as soon be home at night with eggnog or scotch, fireplace going, feet up on the ottoman, relaxing in your favorite robe. Still others may be here tonight because this is home. It's Christmas Eve, and you always come home for Christmas Eve. And by home, don't mean the cathedral, but a service like this. A sanctuary that you know is home for your soul. We're all here because all the hopes and fears of all the years, all our individual years and all our individual fears are met in Jesus tonight. And like those shepherds, we want a glimpse of the Christ child with the assurance that all will be well. And that is his promise. The big picture is that all shall be well. J.R. Tolkien made up a word that summarizes this night for us. It is the word eucatastrophe. Anybody heard that word before or read it? On Fairy Stories, he wrote about this. The word eucatastrophe that he made up comes from two words, EU, which means good or well in Greek, and then catastrophe, which of course means disaster. And in literature, particularly fairy stories and myths, a eucatastrophe is that sudden turn of events when things have gone bad the whole time, but at the very end they turn out not just good but great. That terrible, impending, and very plausible doom turns into quite the opposite in a wonderful and amazing way. If you've read or seen the movies The Lord of the Rings, though victory seems assured for Sauron, the One Ring is permanently destroyed at the end as a result of Gollum's attack on Frodo at Mount Doom. In Harry Potter, Severus Snape turns out to be a double agent, secretly working against Voldemort to preserve Harry's life out of his love for Harry's mother, Lily. And Harry ends up being resurrected, truly. And where does Harry go in that in-between place between his death and his returning to light? King's Cross. Not by accident. Well, Tolkien explained that the birth of Christ is the eucatastrophe of man's history, and the resurrection is the eucatastrophe of the story of the incarnation. It all seems doomed for failure, and God dooms it for success, for victory. It is joy, Tolkien says. He goes on to explain that in that turn of events, we get a glimpse of truth. Truth with a capital T. Truth because it shows us, he says, how things really do work in the great world for which our nature is made. He's saying we were born for Christmas morning every day of our lives. So whatever your ostensible reason for coming here tonight, the deeper reason I believe that brought us all here is to worship this babe that is Christ the Lord, the amazing turning of events in the schemes of our world. So let us do just that. Let us gaze upon truth as we worship. I want to invite you to sing with me the first verse of "O Come, All Ye Faithful." Don't pull out your hymnal. Don't put on your glasses. You don't need the hymnal. We don't need the words. We all know it. So I want you to close your eyes and in the eyes of your soul, glimpse the baby Jesus and his love for you. And just worship. And in doing, find all the hopes and fears of all the years met in him tonight. So close your eyes. That's why we came. And let us sing. Oh, come.